The Gulf conflict creates short-term problems but opens long-term opportunities. The scenarios, now dominant in the media, predicting severe and lasting economic consequences from the conflict in the Gulf have realistic value for short-term risk assessment, but they do not carry higher probability in the medium and long term. In fact, the more likely outcome is a permanent weakening of Iran's direct and indirect, via proxies, offensive capabilities to destabilize the Middle Eastern region, with positive consequences across a broad geoeconomic quadrant that includes both the coastal and the deeper Mediterranean area. In particular for Italy. A. The launch of the IMEC project connecting the Indo Pacific, the Mediterranean, and the mid-northern Atlantic, and the resulting structuring of a coastal and deep Mediterranean market, the Ecumene, with strong growth potential. B. Penetration into Africa through methods of mutual advantage. C. Maximum global expansion of bilateral partnerships. D. Convergence, albeit with varying contingent intensities, with the EU and the US, in order to multiply political leverage useful to commercial strategy through a G7+ posture. A residual risk remains and should not be underestimated, but the power differential between the Israeli-American offensive and the resistance of the Iranian dictatorial regime, combined with the absence of direct engagement by Russia and China to counter that offensive, despite their positioning to exploit potential American setbacks, leads, in the projective simulation of the case, to a positive and expansive probability for Italy's potential economic geopolitics in the range of 70 to 80%. This probability is reinforced by the growing control over the mouth of the Red Sea, almost as strategically relevant as the Strait of Hormuz for the IMEC scenario, thanks also to the deployment in Somaliland of Israeli anti-Houthi capabilities and to the strengthening of European naval missions. Therefore, although political and economic tensions will be problematic in the short term, the Italian economic and political spheres should calibrate investments, the former, and geopolitical action, the latter, not only by evaluating the risks but also the opportunities. There will likely be a necessarily cautious period of 3 to 6 months. But the recommendation for both spheres mentioned above is to prepare opportunity scenarios now, in order to be ready to seize them in 3 market areas freed from Iranian terrorism and from the weakening of Chinese and Russian influence: the coastal Mediterranean, the deeper Indo-Arab side, and the African side, while also including a 4th, global area. The technical suggestion is to begin considering the creation of a metamarket organization, with specific financial rules, that establishes basic common standards among the areas of the Ecumene, even while they remain differentiated. The geopolitical suggestion is to prepare a framework for conflict avoidance and stabilization, for example, between Turkey and Israel, to manage inter-European divergences regarding the EU's southern projection, and to increasingly include compatible African nations, etc. Italy's objective is to position itself at the center as a collaborative geopolitical architect in these 3 areas, thereby multiplying its relevance in the 4th, global area. This position would add to its dual convergence with the force multipliers of the US and the EU, supporting exports and attracting foreign investment. I urge limiting fear through strong and technical thinking.